All right. It's funny because I'm sure you can probably hear my voice over the top, but I put that 30-second timer on. And here I am. I don't know what that was meant to be, but we'll see what happens there. Hi, if you're listening, thanks for joining. If you are listening, feel free to say hello in the chat so that I know who I'm talking to. Welcome. I am going to play a video to start with because I like the video. It doesn't go for very long, so I hope that you might like it too. Let's go back to this for a second. Yeah, Tony. Hello. Nice to have you listening on, Tony. Maybe I can inspire you with the audio of this video that's coming up, even if you can't see it. And Justin, Lucky Camera Straps, I'm listening. Thanks for being in the chat, both of you. I will play this video first, and then I'll jump into what I will be discussing for today. So that, and...
We collectively, CrossFitters, affiliates, trainers, CrossFitters are the leading force in the world today in the war on chronic disease. 70% of the people that die from chronic disease around the world. Medicine has no solution. You do.
The shortage is in professional trainers, not clients.
Challenging, successfully fighting chronic disease, it is you and you alone. We sit collectively in unique possession of an elegant solution to the world's most vexing problem. And I'm going to tell you that the American Beverage Association is the enemy. That's the other side of the whole effort. Excellence is obvious to everyone. It's just that easy.
Announcement is brought to you in part by the CrossFit Affiliates.
And that's not me, obviously. And I'm back. So Matt Souza, the guy that was on the screen at the end of that video, put that clip together. And I thought, it's the right way to describe it. I had an emotional connection to it. Maybe not I don't know the best way to describe that. I'm not sure. But I really enjoyed that video. It is powerful in a way of it's a reminder to me, and maybe it's a motivator for other people to, like, as a CrossFit coach, you are making a difference, and we are making a difference. Justin says, elegant to the point that it might be optimal. I'm assuming that's what Greg said in there. I blanked out for a moment, making sure that I didn't stop that video too late. Greg famously said too, we don't need more lifeguards. We need more swim coaches. That is the CrossFit trainer. We need more people to educate the world on how to be healthier and move better, off the couch, off the carbs, how to stay active through life. And that was just a nice little, again, thanks to Souza who put that together, nice little 1-minute clip just as a bit of a reminder of the importance. And also for anyone that may be considering it, even whether you want to be a coach or not be a coach, the level 1 is a course that you can go to, CrossFit.com courses, level 1 certificate. You don't even have to want to be a coach, but down the bottom of that courses level 1 certificate page, you can find upcoming near you. The next one's on in Melbourne on March 21st and 22nd this year, so CrossFit level 1. That is something that you don't have to want to be a CrossFit coach to do that. You can be interested in your own fitness journey and learn a lot from that 2-day weekend. Just because you do that course doesn't mean you have to be a coach, but it might inspire you to help other people. Tony says, prevention always better than the cure. Absolutely, Tony. On that point, when are you doing the first of the open workouts? Is that something that you're going to be hitting up this year? This week, this month even? Today's live, I thought I'd talk about fitness and aging and staying active while aging, or potentially for people who haven't kept active as they've aged, getting back into fitness, because quite regularly you hear people say if you don't use it, oh, of course, Tony, knee issues. I do remember now. My bad. No squatting for you. Absolutely not. Quite often you hear people say if you don't use it, you lose it. And I think sometimes as the aging population age, they forget that just because you might have lost it doesn't mean you can't get it back. And that's probably an important reminder, I think, for people. Unfortunately, and I might be talking to the wrong crowd here, because anyone that does listen to this is probably already in the fitness space, already in the CrossFit space. It needs to be said more to people that aren't in those spaces. The reminder that even though they are no longer active, or they haven't been active for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 40 years, whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that they can't see success from starting sooner rather than later. And I would almost argue, in particular, the people we have regularly who come to the gym, once you've sort of past maybe a 3-year mark, you start to sort of plateau a little bit unless you really dial in your nutrition, and then you see advances again. But people who haven't been active for a long time can almost sometimes see more benefit from starting exercise and more success from starting exercise than people who have been active for a long period of time. I'm not saying stop exercising so that you can come back and have success. What I mean more is just, if there's anyone in your life that's like, I'm too old, or it's been too long, or whatever it might be, I think it's an important reminder that, yes, we do say if you don't use it, you lose it, but that doesn't mean you can't get it back. And so the question that prompted this today, plus many, many, many conversations, Sue was kind enough to ask this one on the Instagram story that I put up. I think that's where she asked it. That's part 2 of her question. Part 1 of her question, I've tweaked it a little bit so it makes more sense as a question. Talk about how important it is for older people to engage in functional fitness, the importance it has on longevity and living your best life as an older person. And then the second part to her question, I'm not sure what your demographic will be in regards to who's listening, but maybe your younger followers could encourage their older parents and relatives to listen in. And even if they don't listen in, just that conversation with them about how there are options out there to enhance their life through exercise. And then the final part, love this. Sue says, you are certainly my inspiration at 66 for continuing to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I want to start there because in the gym at Dauntless, Sue's a regular at the 9:30 class, and she quite regularly says to people that they inspire her. And Sue is one of those people that continues to show up and put the work in regularly, week in, week out as well. And even, I'm sure she knows it, but sometimes she might forget it. She inspires us to keep going. So I am almost 35. So when you take that into consideration, I've got another 31 years until I get to Sue's age. And I hope that I can be as active and mobile as what Sue is at 66 in the way she is. So going back to the start of the question, fitness and aging. We talk about fitness. I think people get lost in fitness being like elite level fitness, or particularly in the CrossFit space, there's people that are better at the gym than other people. And the masters population at the gym sometimes get lost in not being good enough. And this is probably, this whole conversation would be the reminder that I would have with any of those people at the gym day to day about when they're like, I can't do this, or I can't do that anymore, or I used to be able to. And I constantly remind them that they are still leaps and bounds ahead of most of the population. Sue, as an example, would be the top 1% for able people in that age bracket of 66. And when you're surrounded by people who on a, say, CrossFit Open leaderboard would appear far fitter than you, you kind of sometimes forget that. And they sometimes think I'm not very fit because they're comparing it to these fitter people than them. But then you put them out there in the real world, and as a 66-year-old, Sue can still run around with her 3 grandkids, I think she said this morning, running up and down sand dunes, playing with them yesterday. So it's an important reminder that, and if I was talking directly to Sue, it's an important reminder that, hey, she's telling me something that seems quite normal for her, but it's not normal for a lot of people. So when it comes to the aging population and fitness, I think it's important, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you do feel like you've lost it, it's not gone forever. There are ways to get it back. And I think that just starting any kind of probably group fitness class in particular, if you're worried about getting into a group fitness class, then maybe some one-on-one PTs or some smaller group PTs are more useful for someone who hasn't exercised for a while, just to help them build confidence in the things that they are doing. I think there's a huge benefit from being a part of the group fitness class, but if you're worried about being part of that to start with, then that small one-on-one or small group session will be more useful for you to build your own confidence. Even brand new people who come into the gym, the advances that they make in their own ability to move their body in the space of a 4-week window is huge. From just coming 2 or 3 times a week, you see them start moving easier, start getting on and off the ground easier, the ability to move around both the gym floor and their body becomes more natural and more confident to them. And I wonder if people push fitness aside because they think it will take too long to get any good at it, when in fact you can get a hell of a lot of benefit from 2 or 3 times a week of consistent effort, even over the space of just 3 to 6 months. And then once you've committed that time and you start feeling so great, you then hopefully continue on for longer and longer and longer, and it becomes a part of your life rather than something you have to do. It becomes something you want to do. And I think that's where the group class helps with that too. You start to build friendships with people, relationships with people, and it encourages you to continue to turn up to the gym those 3 days a week, those 4 days a week, those 5 days a week. So if there's someone out there in your life who does not exercise and you know they would benefit from it, have that conversation with them. It could be as simple as you starting with them for 10 minutes twice a week in their own home as a way to motivate them to just do some movement. The other part of this conversation that I had with the 66-year-old and the 75-year-old at the gym at the 9:30 class today was how sometimes we forget, because we've been in the space for so long, where people actually start and how little movement they might have to begin with. But like I said, how quickly that advances over a 4, 8, 12-week window when they're consistent 2 or 3 times a week in doing some sort of movement that is functional for their life. If you have someone in your life, I didn't see all the comments here. Hello, Matt. It's good to see people at the gym that are capable, and really opens your eyes up to people that are still moving compared to people who are less active. And so I think that's a great point too for the younger, lack of a better term, the under 40 population at the gym. We get to see people over the age of 50 still showing up, still moving well, still performing, still achieving PB, still getting better. And on the flip side of that, those older people get to have friendships and relationships with younger people that inspire them also to be better. So yes, Matt's right. It's good to see people at the gym that are capable, and it really opens your eyes to the people that are still moving compared to people who are less active. And you can go out into the public anywhere and have a look around, and you can sort of tell people who are active versus not active. And it does make you appreciate, even when you're injured, and I'll use me as an example, even while I'm injured, I still, because of the years of activity that I've done, have quite a decent base of functional capacity, even without a wrist that bends. bend. And so it really opens your eyes to, you don't really need a lot of functional capacity to be able to live independently in the world and be functional, for lack of a better term. Hello, Twitter. I think too, people get stuck in the instant mindset, thanks social media, and expect to go from 0 to 100 overnight. And I agree with that, Twitter. And on that same train of thought, that's why when if you don't use it, you lose it. They often think, well, it's gone now and I can't get it back. So they have those two ends of the scale. One is it's gone, I can't get it back, and the other is, well, if I'm going to try and get it back, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 overnight. And I think in particular, what we all learn, but it takes time to learn that, is its consistency over time. So quite a number of members at the gym have been there for, gosh, some of them more than 10 years, heaps of them over 5 years, and it's just continual, consistent improvement. And because it's continual, consistent improvement, there's no point of burnout or I can't do this anymore, because no one's trying to go 100% in that first 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months. It's just 1% better every day. Hello, Jeff. Nice to see you in the comments too. I'm telling my students in year 7 and 8 that I'm doing this training because I want to play with my grandchildren like I can now. I'm always referring to Foss, Mark and Sue when students say they can't. And they're the perfect examples. So Foss, Mark and Sue, all over the age of 60. Sorry if they don't want that publicly out there, but I think that's really awesome. All consistently coming to the gym, all doing what they can with the injuries that they may have sustained over life, or not even injuries, just limitations that ages created in their bodies. So knee issues, shoulder issues, doesn't stop them from showing up. And there's still, particularly in CrossFit, ways to achieve fitness through functional movements, even with injuries, that don't result in those injuries getting worse over time. Jeff also says, showing them how to scale and that they are capable of achieving what I've programmed for them. So that's his year 7 and 8 students, and using people over the age of 60 as a, well, if they can, why can't you? And just because you can't now doesn't mean you can't in the future. But I also like what Jeff says there too about wanting to play with his grandchildren like he can now. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the point of being alive if you can't live your life? And so Jeff's hit the nail on the head there. If you want to be a part of your kids' lives and be active with your kids because you've been an active person, it's just that consistency over the next 40 years or more, depending on how long we live in the future, that is going to achieve us or get us to that point in our life. Tony says, don't do a first workout and just send it. Doesn't go great. So Tony's perfect for this. Tony will do one workout a year, maybe one every 6 months, and he'll go as hard as he can and then not be able to move his body very well. And this is probably a really important point to note too. I'll just read out Justin's comment that goes along with it. Tony does one extremely intense workout per year, which I guess is a form of consistency. I would prefer Tony do 52 workouts a year, far less intense, and build consistency first before going full steam ahead into one workout and then being quite slow following that point. So yes, I think consistency is more important than intensity if you're just starting out. Just building a routine, building that I go to the gym or I do a exercise routine 2, 3, 4 times a week. Make it so simple that you can keep doing it. And then eventually that consistency builds over time. And then you can start to push the intensity because you've learned a lot about your body. You start to understand what movements make you feel good, what movements make you pull up maybe a little sore, what movements you can start to push your effort on so that you can elicit fitness gains from the intensity that you put into it. So I like all of those comments there. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Twitter. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Tony and Juzzy. in the ability to kind of explain further. Probably the other, I'll read this out first. I show them the, what's that? Atrophy graph, and why it's important to build muscle and bone mass now as youth and young adults, to build it up now and then slow it down after 40. Keeping training. Minds were blown. I wonder if I can pull something up like that. I wanted to, it's funny, we were discussing just Jeff words. That's the kind of morning I've had today. Atrophy graph. I don't know if there's a particular graph you were referring to, Jeff, but I was reading some aging population training through age journal articles from CrossFit.com. I mean, the perfect one from the level 1 guide and from all of sort of the CrossFit content when it comes to ability to do a freehand like a bell curve. Is this famous in the CrossFit space quote, out of the level 1, out of the training guide, out of the journal articles. I'll just pull this one up. The needs of an Olympic athlete, oh gosh, spaces are good. The needs of an Olympic athlete and our grandparents differ by degree and not kind. And that's a big thing in CrossFit. It's like their workout that is programmed might differ in degree from an Olympic athlete or an elite level athlete to your grandparent, but it shouldn't differ in kind. If the class is squatting, the older person should also be squatting to whatever capacity that is for them. If the class is doing pressing of some sort, the older athlete should also be doing pressing. So the workout shouldn't change in the movement that it is. It should be the goal to progress every person in that gym at their own relative level to whatever that workout is. So heavy squats for the elite athlete in the gym are still heavy squats for them, in the same way a heavy squat or even potentially an unloaded squat for an older person, but to a depth that is challenging for them, is hard. So both of these things are hard relative to each person. I think Jeff's just texted me the picture. Oh, it's just the graph. Okay, I understand now. Loss of muscle mass in aging, where you can build muscle and then as you age, it declines quickly. If you maintain, now I understand, thanks, Jeff. If you maintain fitness over time, you can have that graph plateau out or drop off less fast, for probably a better descriptor of it. The other thing that's in the level 1 a lot, well, it's in the level 1 and gets spoken about a lot, is, where's these pictures? Let me share this screen. The sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. I really like this. If anyone's been to Dauntless, they might have learned over time. There's the workout of the day, and then there's a fitness version of the workout. So we had the workout of the day, and then we created this scaled version of the workout of the day that we called fitness, to provide an option for newer people or older people or injured people to sort of come into the workout and be able to understand, hey, here's a lower level version of this workout that's still going to be challenging relative to my current fitness level, versus the RX version of the workout or the workout of the day. And for example, the workout of the day might have bar muscle ups in it. The fitness version might have a version of a jumping pull-up or a jumping chest bar in it. If that's still unachievable for someone who comes in, we then regress that down. It might be a ring row, it might be a barbell bent over row, but we still maintain that pulling movement in the workout for anyone that turns up. So that's what that comment, the needs of an Olympic athlete and our grandparents differ by degree, not kind, in the same way. So that's a gymnastics example. Everyone should be able to run unless they're in a wheelchair. If they can't run, the goal should be to be able to speed walk or shuffle faster. So when I come into the class and the the RX athletes in the class or the elite level athletes in the class might be able to do the prescribed distance running. Let's use a 400 meter as an example here. And the guidance in that might be that this 400 meter run should take you around 2 minutes, followed by whatever comes next. Now, if there was someone in the class that cannot run 400 meters, the guidance is, hey, can we run a distance that takes us around 2 minutes? They might be running a 200 meter. If they're so new to running or even walking where that is hard work for them, then a 2-minute speed walk is an option that progresses that athlete in the same degree towards running without changing it. Now, at some point, things might change in terms of injury-related reasons, might have you on a rower or a bike to do that instead. But that's changing kind of the movement that we want, but it's still allowing that monostructural movement to happen. So fitness over this end of the continuum is where we want people to get to. So I like to think when they walk into the CrossFit gym, they might have come from sickness, they might be in that wellness phase, and we want to progress them towards fitness. So that's where that fitness workout title came from once upon a time. I wanted to play this video as well. Let me share that to help me prompt my next thought.
The needs of Olympic athletes and our grandparents, they differ by degree, not kind. Okay? One wants functional dominance to take gold medals. The other wants functional competence to stay out of the nursing home. Who here wants to live to be 400 years old if for 325 years you have to watch fucking Oprah and you're getting fed green jello on a spoon and someone's wiping your ass for you and you live in a bed? It's really not the way I want to go out. But Dalrymple had said that the real opportunity for the next big push in medicine would come out of exercise, out of physical activity, and not out of pharmaceutical intervention, nor out of surgery. But I think that most of us, if we really start thinking about it, what you really want to be able to do throughout your life is maintain functional capacity. We go downstairs, and I don't care, again, whether you're trying to go to the Olympics or you just want to stay out of the nursing home. I'm going to introduce the squat to you. I'm going to introduce the press to you, and I'm going to introduce the deadlift to you. Because I think you need to be able to put things overhead, and you need to be able to pick shit up off the ground. You need to be able to get your ass out of the chair unassisted. Eat a diet of meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. You hear that there, and you're exempt. Magic. If you are fit, you have a whole bunch of qualities: blood pressure, cholesterol levels, bone density, resting heart rate, body fat, that before you can become pathological, you'll have to be well. It doesn't mean that fitness is a hedge against sickness with wellness as an intermediate value. That's how profound it is.
So fitness is a hedge against sickness, with wellness being that in between. The things that stand out to me in that is, like, why are we fit? Why do we try and stay active? It's not to be the best person doing exercise. Quite often it's just about being able to live our lives. So that functional capacity, being able to, I don't know, what age is retirement these days? Being able to retire, go away on trips that you said you'd wait for retirement for. So just as an example, there's a number of people that Justin knows through the camera photography sort of space who are all retired with their fancy cameras, but without functional capacity. When they go on their holidays where they're going to take great photos of sights and views and birds and landscape and stuff, if they don't have the ability to get around, hike up the hill, move up and down the stairs of the hotel, whatever it might be, there's a lot missed from that experience. And so that functional capacity is really, really, like, that's the goal, right? daily movement and independence as we age, with the ability to continue to do the things we love as we age, even if we can't do them as well as what we used to, still being able to do them. Still being able to go for a hike up a hill is important as we age, just as it is when you're in your 30s, 40s, whatever it might be, just as it is to play with your kids. Being able to continue to live your life and participate in your kids' life as you age is important too. Tony firing shots in there. Justin retired at 35. Well, let's say for you, Tony, how old's Croft? If he decides to retire, is he going to be able to live functionally and enjoy his life? And at the end of the day, that is the goal. At least that's my goal. And for some people, I mean, I don't think you'd be listening to this if that wasn't some sort of goal for you. There are people out there in the world who couldn't care less about whether or not they had functional capacity as they aged. A few years ago, our neighbour down the corner of the street that we live on, he was 93, living at home before he passed away. He was still walking around the block twice a day prior to that. And he even mentioned sometimes he had a homemade bench press set up at home where he would do some bench press, very light, sometimes just banded. And that was his version at 93 of his exercise to keep him independent and with functional capacity as he aged. So he still lived at home up until the age of 93. And if there's nothing wrong with ending up, that's what makes it sound wrong. If you end up in a nursing home, if you can still be functional and maintain capacity in that nursing home, I'm sure that you can really enjoy your life. But if you end up not moving a lot, you often see that's where life starts to slow down or take a backward step in terms of your ability for your own independence and your own joy. Justin said, I wish. He wishes he was retired. I'm not sure what Tony means by hop, hell, stop annoying me. I don't know what that means. Gosh, there's so many other tabs I had open about this, but at the end of the day, if there's someone that you know that doesn't move daily, even if that's just going for a walk, encourage them to get out there. It can start as simply as, hey, like, I really care about you. I think it's important that you move yourself daily. And it might just be walking around the block once. Can you do that every day? Or can you walk for 10 minutes? Walk away from your house for 5 minutes, turn around and walk back to your house for the following 5 minutes. Once you do that every day and that becomes easy, hey, can we walk a little further in the same amount of time? Or can we walk for a little longer? And simple little things like that, just starting with walking as an example for people, can be all that they need to start with. But I really, really, really want to emphasize the benefit of squatting. And for people, squatting doesn't have to be to start with. It should be the goal, though. Squatting should eventually get you to full range of motion, and that's what you should be aiming for. But for many people, just sitting down on a dining room chair at home and standing up 10 times in one unbroken stint, so do that before resting, can be a challenging piece of exercise for someone. So sit to stands. If there's a set of stairs at your house, up and down on the bottom step for 2 minutes, all of those things seem, for people that are listening, probably seem really, really easy if you've been doing fitness for a while, but can be really quite challenging for someone who hasn't done something. So simple little things like that, 10-minute walk, 2 minute step up, step down on the bottom stair, 1 minute or 10 sit to stands on the dining room chair or the couch, something that's low that you can get low on and still get out of. And even if it's got armchairs and you use your arms to start with and you build towards not having to use your arms later down the track. They sound so simple, but for some people that is a workout for them. So if there's anyone in your life that you could encourage to be active, don't make it too hard for them. Even when you visit your parents, your grandparents, maybe that's just something that you do with them. All of that stuff would be done in less than 15 minutes. You could do all three of those things, and just like that, 15 minutes of daily movement that progresses them towards more functional life could be achieved. And if they realize that it's that simple to do, not necessarily easy to motivate yourself to do though, they might, or they will, become more independent, more functional, and be able to enjoy their life more. There was a period of time, this will be the last thing I say. I won't go into what I learned for the Open. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow when the announcement goes live. There was a period of time in the CrossFit space where they were branching out into like fitness at home, what it would be, trying to encourage, I guess, people who don't exercise or people of older age to just do something. So I'm just going to share one more video just to show you that you can go online and you can see this is a video. So if you're looking on the screen, if you're only listening, I'll read it out to you, but if you're looking on the screen, and it's titled At Home Step Ups. It's from 6 years ago. CrossFit posted it. So April 4th, 2019. If they'd kept on with this probably would have been really useful for a lot of the population through COVID. But I'll just hit play on this, and essentially it's just a workout video. Sad music. A lady in her hallway, lounge room, whatever it might be, she's just stepping up and down on the bottom step of her stairs. So there might be stairs out the back of your house, there might be stairs inside your house. Something so simple like that is a workout for some people. Let me see what else. I don't know where my other videos went. Slips. I guess some of these were lunges at home. Anyway, there's a resource of videos on the CrossFit website that you could look at. Let me share this tab. Lunges. Now, there's probably a number of people that cannot even get their knee to the floor. And so doing it with the support of a chair or a couch or a pole or something to help pull yourself up is also a great way to start building that in. The burpee. Just trying to see if I can find the video of the burpee because it's so simple. It's almost, again, if you've been in the space for a while, sometimes you forget that this is hard work for people. But just even getting on the floor and getting off the floor and spending 2 minutes doing that for someone is the same intensity if they're inactive normally as what a 15 to 20 minute workout, or if anyone remembers back in the CrossFit Open, 7-minute AMRAP, max burpees to a 6-inch target. So that 7-minute AMRAP for many people in the Open that year, if you ask someone who's not very active normally to perform 1 or 2 minutes of burpees, they'll probably get the same intensity from that as what most people in the CrossFit affiliate will get from the 7 minutes of burpees. Hey, Pete. Hey, I made the right time finally. I think I've locked in 1 o'clock on Thursdays, so I'm going to do my best to hold to that so that it is consistent each week. So I appreciate that you're live in the chat today, Pete, but I have appreciated your comments after the fact as well. Jeff, whole class brain break, taking 20 seconds to sit on a chair while moving, the whole 20 seconds. You just mean that in class, Jeff, you get everyone, do you get them to do squats or just sit, just hovering off the chair for 20 seconds? So many students can't squat or lunge. Playing squatty coney is like I've made them run 10Ks. Exactly. So it's that nice reminder, probably to us more personally. I know I've learned a lot, even just in this first part of this year. People that come into the CrossFit space generally have some capacity already, and there are people out there that even the things that we do as simple fitness movements or simple scaled movements or even just simple warm-up movements is still really challenging for people that haven't been exercising for a long time. So as Jeff says, his students can't squat or lunge, which is just insane to me because they're year 7 and 8 students. Like, they should definitely be able to squat and lunge, and that's just because they haven't had to or haven't been required to for probably most of their life. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds sitting in the bottom of a squat playing, and then at some point we all end up sitting on chairs. Those chairs end up higher than full range of motion squats, and then we get used to not going to that bottom position, and then we lose it. And again, going back to what we said at the start, if you don't use it, you lose it. But don't take that as if that's it and you're done. If you don't use it, you lose it. But don't forget that you can't then get it back. Twitter, who the hell forgets burpees are hard work? I didn't say they forget that it's hard work, Twitter. I know that you know it's hard work. Just some people's, 7 minutes of someone's burpees is the same as someone else's 1 minute of burpee. Can have the same intensity depending on their fitness level. Jeff says, yes, sit to stand, but taking 20 seconds. As in, here I am asking again, Jeff, do you mean moving up and down consistently for 20 seconds, or do you mean going from standing slowly over the space of 20 seconds, so like a tempo squat down to sitting? Interested to know that. Anyway, I'm still trying to find this. Here we go, unweighted get up. This is a good one because often this is something that no one can do. This is essentially, I guess, a burpee, 1 rep. Yeah, so a 20-second tempo stand to sit as a way of a brain break, Jeff says. So whole class brain break, taking 20 seconds to sit on a chair. Now that makes more sense, my bad. The whole 20 seconds. So, I mean, I challenge you right now, if you've got the ability to do a 20-second into the bottom of a squat lower while I'm talking, see how challenging it is to go slowly through a movement. Just want to play this one more video. It's so interesting. Listen to me. What do I know? At home, unweighted get up. So again, from 6 years ago, gosh, they were ahead of their time. They got laughed at for these videos because they're so dated. They're so old. Like, it looks like your grandparents' house. At home, unweighted get up. So remember, in 2020, we all got locked at home. This was from June 2019, the unweighted get up. So getting down onto the floor, so that's at lunge position first, laying down onto the ground, laying on your back, and then the ability to actually roll over to your front and then stand back up. It seems easy probably to everyone who's listening, but most people, not most people, if you went out into the public and asked people to do that, a lot of people would struggle with it, I'm sure. Justin says 26.2 predictions. I don't do predictions. I don't know. I just wait and find out. You tell me what you think, Justin. I'll tell everyone what you told me this morning. Twitter says 300 thrusters for time because he obviously didn't do enough wall balls last week in the open, so he wants to do a bit more of that same movement pattern. In regards to 26.2 predictions, I did see Dave's clue, actually. I'll pull that up while I'm talking. Instagram. Justin said to me this morning, because he likes to think about this stuff more than I do, I like to just wait for them to announce it, because why waste extra brain capacity on something that the chances of guessing are so low? We did wall balls and box jumps, so essentially a pressing or a pushing movement last week. So the assumption would be a pulling movement. This is Justin's breakdown for me. He thinks some sort of pulling movement, whether that's gymnastics pulling on the rig, whether it's barbell pulling like a snatch or a deadlift. It will be interesting to see. And then what did they say? They said, so I can't remember. There was an affiliate town hall, I think it was in America. And I believe what came from that was week 2 of the Open will be a new PB for people, which implies kind of like gymnastic skill. So whether it's a pull-up, whether it's a first chest to bar, whether it's a first bar muscle up, whether it's a first toes to bar or a ring muscle up or something. And then the final week of the Open will be classic CrossFit. And classic CrossFit is that combination of monostructural gymnastics and weightlifting. So a triplet probably of one of each movement modality in the Open. What's Jeff got for us? 5 rounds. So Jeff's prediction is 5 rounds of row, overhead walking lunge, and pull-up. You know what? I wouldn't be mad about that either, because I could probably do that as a workout, which would give me 2 workouts this open season that I can do even with a wrist that doesn't work. So that would actually be really exciting for me. Oh, that's what I was going to show. All right. Justin says, separate the wheat from, what the hell is that? Chafe? Some sort of limiting time domain or movement. What is that word? Is that a word I should know? Some sort of limiting time domain or movement. So like a gated workout. Open magic, probably muscle ups, but potentially having to earn the attempt for the muscle up to get there, or maybe to not have to earn it but get stuck there. Now what I was going to do was, this is the open hint. Let me show this in case you haven't seen it yet. But I'm sure, I mean, if you're into the open, you probably have. Dave Castro's Instagram. This is his open hint for week 2. So whatever you take of that, the oats are in the screen. They leave the screen. There's a lot of sky, a lot of cloud. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe 12 bits on there. Who knows? If you can be bothered speculating, speculate away. What have we got? Twitter says last week might be the final week might be a 21-15-9 in that case if it's a traditional one. Yeah, so that is a traditional rep scheme too, that descending rep range. Jeff says each round goes toes to bar, pull up, chest to bar, bar muscle up, ring muscle up. I like that as a progression through the workout for sure, Jeff. I don't reckon they do both bar and ring, but maybe they will. But I like the idea of toes to bar, to pull up, to chest to bar muscle up, but having to potentially get through something by a certain time point to be able to advance into the next bit. That's what they call a gated workout. I don't like that as much. I would prefer it if it was, say, it's 10 rounds, but each 2 rounds the movement changes. So it's like you can advance as far as you can. And if you get to the bar muscle ups, you can get there and have a go. And if you don't get there, it's not because you went fast enough at the earlier stuff. You just, in terms of the gated one, I like it when you can work to get to a point and then have a go, as opposed to you didn't finish this in 2 minutes, so you're out now. Justin says, also the seeds are dangling, so lots of rig work. All right, so the assumption is that, 10 rounds of hanging stuff. Maybe it goes pull up, chest to bar, bar muscle up. No, that doesn't work. It's not divisible by 10. I don't know. See, this is why I don't try and guess, because we can just wait till 7 o'clock tomorrow and find out. Pete, Castro Sins are such a cringe. It's funny. Last week's after the fact, when he showed what that actually was, it made a lot of sense. But if you don't know what the whole picture is, it doesn't make any sense at all. Matt says something swinging from the rings. You would like that, wouldn't you, Matt? So B can beat you in a workout. You got your ring muscle ups yet? Would you prefer bar or rings, Matt? And if it is swinging from the rings, is that what you would like? That would be open magic to get your first ring muscle up in an open workout. Jazzy says, I love the hints. I like the comments that come alongside with them. Just make 5 rounds work from Jeff. Mine is, I don't know what that's in reference to. Mine is, I'm not sure what I said then. Anyway, I think that might do for today. But if there are other questions, please feel free to throw them in. I'll allow at least another 15 to 20 seconds for you to write that out. Thanks so much for being in the chat today, everyone that came in, anyone that saw it on Instagram and then came across, even if it was only for a minute. Next time you come across, Thursday at 1 p.m., leave a comment. If you don't have a YouTube account, but you've got a Gmail email, technically you do have a YouTube account. So if you need to log in, just log into YouTube. That'll allow you to comment. But thanks, Justin. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Twitter. Jeff, Pete. Who else was in here? I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Thanks so much for listening in. That was a long one today, and I appreciate everyone being in here and taking the time. If you've got follow-up questions, or maybe you think of something afterwards, once this is sitting on YouTube as a video, you can always comment in the comment section below as opposed to the live chat, which is off to the side. Oh, Nikita, you caught the end of it. That's okay. I mean, it's nice to know that you're working and not on YouTube, so well done to you. Oh, actually, I will stay on for another minute because that's what I forgot to share. Nikita actually sent me a video on Instagram in relation to this topic, and I forgot about it until just then because I've got bits and pieces coming out of my ears and eyeballs when it comes to these lives, and I get lost in too many tabs. All right, where is this video? It is Nikita's perfect topic. Maybe not so much aging and fitness, but just in general, like returning to fitness and how if you don't use it, you lose it. But again, if you have lost it, you can regain it back too. I'll share this video before we sign out. So Nikita shared this video with me, and she said, she sent it last week saying in reference to what I'm doing on the podcast this week, these guys, 80 and over race. Oh, is there audio with this? Maybe I didn't listen to it. In which case, my bad. I'm just impressed. These guys are running. So I'm going to play this video. We might let it play a couple of times, and we'll go from there.
Just going to say they were holding their position better than some of the high schoolers. Wow, down the track, 80 and older. We have a battle in the middle of the track. 3 lanes, dueling it out. And here the crowd at the Penn relays for our 80-year-old sprinters. In lane 4, that is dominating.
I think what I missed at the start there, one of the commentators says these guys are running better than the high school students, and I'm sure Jeff would attest to that in the comments if he's still there. I'm going to let it play through again so we can watch it from the start and you can hear it from the start.
Yelana, I do believe it is.
This is awesome, right? Just being able to sprint at 80, above 80, 82, let alone be fast is really cool. But there's 3 important things you can take away from this. First off, it is a use it or lose it. You have to do something in order to get better at that something. You can't just go into the weight room and then you haven't sprinted in 4 years and think you're ready to sprint. You actually have to prepare your body to handle sprinting, which leads to number 2. That's exposure of the activity. And if I go outside and I'm going to go, I'm planting a garden, and I shovel, and I haven't shoveled in a really long time. I shovel for 2 hours. I'm going to get blisters. But if I have exposed myself to that because I work in the garden often, I'm going to have calluses. One is a kind of painful situation, a blister, an injury. The other is my body being prepared. Number 3 is competition. Have something you can still compete in, something that drives all this other stuff, right? The lifting, the running, the staying mobile, all that supports your competition because competition is fun. The weight room isn't always that fun. It's really not. Some people love it. I like it, but not everyone does. If you have something you can compete in, you can use this to support those goals. Oh, that's a winning recipe. I love seeing this. This is so cool.
I was just going to say they were holding their position better than some of the high schoolers. Wow, down the track, 80 and older. We have a battle in the middle of the track. 3 lanes, dueling it out. And here the crowd at the Penn relays for our 80-year-old.
So pretty crazy, that video, really, when you think about it. Like, those guys are probably running faster than potentially a percentage of people at the gym who might running workouts regularly, but maybe aren't so adapted to sprinting in particular. And it does, as it says, the takeaways, as that guy was talking about, if you don't use it, you lose it. But you need exposure for adaptation as much as you need intensity to elicit that fitness response. But that's why early on in your training, this is just coming back around to the start again. It's actually nice to play that and wrap this in one nice ribbon at the end. The consistency in doing something regularly over time is probably more useful for people who are deconditioned or haven't exercised in a long time than applying intensity is early on. First 12 months potentially. If you're only going twice a week, it might take 12 months to have an appropriate adaptation in your body to allow you to then push that intensity more. But each time you step into the gym or each time you do a training session, that effort builds the bricks or the foundations for you to be able to understand your body, learn from your body, and then be able to apply intensity in a way that doesn't cause injury, but actually elicits that fitness outcome. And then that guy said compete too. And I think that's why the group class is important sometimes too. Outside of the social aspect of it and being able to turn up and being told what to do, there is the subtle hints of competition even in class. And it's not, I have to be better than you and I have to beat you, but it's more so, I can be doing my version of my workout beside Mark, who's 75 years old, and he's doing his version of his workout. And we can be competing against each other for the fastest time or the most reps. And it's very, very appropriate to both of us and our current fitness goals. And that in itself is competition. And when you are competing, and I know this guy was talking about like having something like a goal to aim towards in terms of keeping you excited and motivated, and that's what competition is. But even just being able to hit a little bit more intensity just by having someone beside you who's also working hard and pushing themselves too is really, really important for progressing your fitness through across time. I'm glad you came in, even if you were late, Nikita. Happy to have you here to remind me about that video, because I think it was a nice way to wrap up that live. It has almost been an hour, which is insane. Thanks so much to you guys for being in the chat, for listening the whole time if you did, for taking my voice into your ears for a whole hour if that's what you did. Like I said, comment after the fact in the comments below if you want to. If you've got questions, if you've got thoughts that come up, if you watch this later on, I'd love to hear from you. Outside of that, I'm going to wrap it up there with Pete's final comment that says, we don't compete in class much, ... and then a bit of a Pinocchio nose growing face. We don't want to think we do, but we certainly do, even if we didn't step into the door to think that at that moment. Isn't that right? I think it's important though. I think if there's nothing, it helps get intensity in. And that's why Pete's saying that we don't compete much, but also at the end of the day, we use other people to push ourselves. And the ultimate goal is for us to be better. And if we use someone else to make us better, at the end of the day, like my personal goal is for me to be better than I was. And if that person helped me work harder and maybe I wouldn't have, then I've achieved what I set out to do that day. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you all. We'll probably be back on tomorrow to talk through whatever the announcement of the open workout is for 26.2, sometime after 8 o'clock, most likely. Thanks. Bye. Oops, that's not what I want. I'm still here.